Hi, and welcome to week 14 of social studies. So, as you can see, we don't have a globe in front of you, so that means our travels around the globe have ended. We are now stuck in the United States, and I couldn't think of a more perfect thing to be learning about right now than taking a look at how our government works. And I feel right now more than ever that's so important with the election just wrapping up and everything that's going on with the election results. Not only that, but we've also recently had some changes to our Supreme Court with one of our Supreme Court judges or justices passing away and just adding a new justice to the court. So I thought this was just perfect timing. This is a way for us to learn about something that I'm sure for a lot of us is boring. For some of us, we probably don't have a lot of conversations about our government. Others, on the other hand, I have personally had conversations with you, so I know that you're somewhat interested in it. And I've realized that a lot of you have a little bit of knowledge about it too. So I thought, what better way to introduce our government than to take a look at this chart here? And this is looking at the branches of our government. So this should tell you that our government is unique. Our government is set up in a way that we have something in place called checks and balances. So if you look in the bottom left corner of this chart, you'll see that the three branches check one another and balance each other out. Well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is we do not have one person that is in charge. Most people think our president does it all, and that's just actually false. That's not true. Our president has a job and has a very important job in our branches of government, and we will get to that in a second. But the idea behind our government is that we have different groups in place that make sure that each group does their job, does it correctly, does it well, and that each branch is doing something a little bit differently. So everybody does something a little bit differently, but at the same time, they all have their hands in the same thing together. So everybody understands how our government works, and they understand that nobody's trying to cheat anybody or take away our rights or the things that have been given to us by our government. So let's take a look at our branches of government. We have the judicial branch, and that deals with our courts and our judges. That's actually what we will focus on all this week. Their job will be to make sure that all the laws are fair, equal, and constitutional. We will take a look at that word constitutional, and you will know exactly what that means. But understand that the laws are to be fair and equal, meaning that all people should be able to do all things. We know throughout history that hasn't always been the case. If you have me for reading, we read about Jackie Robinson, and we also read about Cesar Chavez, two people of minorities, or in Jackie Robinson's case, he was of color, as we read in that story. So, being an African American, he was treated unfair. Cesar Chavez, being an immigrant, somebody who moved from another country to work, was treated unfair. Our judicial branch worked together to make sure that those rules and laws were changed so people could be treated fairly. Next, we have the executive branch. That is where our president comes into play. And notice it says the president enforces laws. He's not making them, he's not deciding what we can and can't do. He just decides how we can do it. That's what enforcing the law is all about. We will notice that in our government, we have three levels to our government. We have the federal level, the state level, and the local level. Federal is our president, state is our governor, local would be our supervisors or our mayors, people who make decisions for the small towns we live in. So that's our executive branch. And lastly, we have the legislative branch, a group of people that come together and make our laws. So throughout the next few weeks between now and Christmas, we will learn about each branch. Please understand that our branches of government are there to make sure that not one person has too much power and that one person cannot call the shots for everyone. Despite what we've heard, despite which candidate we liked, and if we're happy or not with who won or who lost, just know that our government is set up in a way to support everyone and to make sure everybody gets what he or she needs, hopefully. So I hope you've learned something interesting this week about the judicial branch, and I look forward to learning more with you about our government.